Oh, what's going on, everybody? I'm Blockchain Crusader, crusading through these blockchains every single day, and we are back here for a Monday morning, Monday midday stream here at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So let's start smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. We got the altcoins here in the green, but man, let me tell you, what's not in the green is good old Bitcoin. Bitcoin's on the way down like it's hot. We jump right over here to the Bitcoin chart quickly here. You guys can see we had some nice little sweeps here with the London low, hit our first TP of the trade in the crypto citadel this morning, and then just quickly came right back down, lost the London low, and headed back into the previous day range. Right now, we are below the weekly open and the daily open as well. So we are not going to be saved here and have this potential pushback to the upside. I know a lot of people were thinking that we were just going to have this major push back up. But no, we have come back, retested this area of the weekly open, got rejected again, and now we are headed down towards our previous day targets of 89,429 to about 89,109 with the gold pocket. Now, for Bitcoin, if Bitcoin does continue to head lower and we lose this previous week EQ of 88.9, our next big target to the downside will be 87.6, which is the previous day low. And it doesn't have to stop there. We have targets between 86 to 85 before coming all the way down to the previous week low of 83.7. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be dropping down to 83.7 as of today, as of right now, but if we start losing this previous week range, right, which we're currently in right now, we're currently within the previous week range, but if we start dropping below 88,000, we start dropping below that, we're going to be losing the previous month anchored VWAP, lower anchored VWAP, and we're going to be losing the previous week value area low, opening Bitcoin up to a major potential for a larger overall pullback between 83 to about $80,000 or lower for Bitcoin this week following up. So we have to be very aware here. We did take a short this morning after we lost the London low, took a short, some nice profit here currently. The Asia low is still holding Bitcoin's price up currently. Maybe we have a little bit of push up, but meanwhile we stay below this weekly open. The targets to the downside still remain the same. So let's jump on over to Ethereum here. Ethereum in a similar story, song and dance, creating higher lows overall, but not great pattern here. Not a great overall what we want to be seeing. We got rejected off this London low. We got rejected off this heart line between 31.79. We lost the previous day high. We lost the Asia high, the London low. The only thing that's been holding Ethereum up right now is this previous week anchored VWAP around 3,098, which is currently holding Bitcoin Ethereum up. But if Ethereum continues to flirt around with this area and loses this support, next big target is the weekly open here for that's at 30.58, and below that we got 29.89 as some big targets for Ethereum. Let's look back at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin just still chopping it up at the Asia low. Now let's move on over to XRP. XRP here, very, very nice reversal for XRP. XRP swept the previous day high earlier this morning during the London trading session. Came up, created the London high up at $2.12. During the New York session, we came back up to this previous day high, swept it one more time, once again indicating that a reversal was coming, even though Bitcoin was chopping it up and trying to keep XRP up. Bitcoin could not keep the price action up. Bitcoin gave up and started dropping. And as Bitcoin started dropping, right after these two reversal signals for XRP, XRP has come down to the London low of 207. The London low has been what's holding up XRP, and it's been holding up, pretty well here so far. But our next big target to the downside will be $2.04 here in the short term if we lose $2.07 for XRP before potentially coming down as low as 198 for XRP, guys. I appreciate everybody in here watching. Make sure you guys are smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. If you're watching over on TikTok, make sure you're filling up those like meters, guys. Let's go on over to Instagram here, see what's going on. Appreciate everybody over here on Instagram as well. Make sure you're dropping your altcoins into the chat here so we can cover your altcoin if you have any questions, any technical analysis on any altcoins of your choice. So thoughts on Algorand. So let's go take a look at Algorand here. Where's my Algorand chart? Here we go. Let me zoom out here to the daily. Turn some of these indicators off. Here we go. Boom. All right. So Algorand overall, guys, has been in a pretty steep downtrend. We have lost the developing year range, right? We are below 17 cents for Algorand, which is the value area low for the developing year, aka 2025. We are going to be closing out this yearly range here in the next 22 days or so. So right now, Algorand is sitting in this support zone, this green support zone that we were in for a long time back in 2024, around 13 to 12 cents. If this area is lost, we could be dropping lower, right? Which is hard to say since Algorand's bottom, right? Algorand's bottom for 2023. What was this? Yeah, 2023 bottom was 8 cents, right? 8 cents during the October liquidation. We came all the way down to 10 cents. So if we continue, slowly dropping here for Algorand doesn't have too much more room to drop to the downside. Obviously, it can always drop more, but it dropped down to the 2023 lows, which is a 38% drop from where we are today. At 13 cents, it would be down to 8 cents. That would be the next big target to the downside if we continue dropping here for Algorand. But meanwhile, we can hold this support zone. Thank you for hitting that subscribe, Greg. Let's go. Appreciate everybody smashing those likes. If Algorand can hold this support zone here between 12 to 13 cents, big target to the upside here in the short term would be 18 to 20 cents. That's the first big target push to the upside. Once we start getting above that 18-cent area, then we got some more targets between 23 to 25 cents for Algorand. Now, the yearly VWAP and quarterly VWAP are both going to be closing out here at the end of this month, guys. So lots of data is coming out. We're going to be getting a lot of data at the end of this year here in January 1st. We're going to be getting a new yearly range, new yearly data, new quarterly data, new monthly data. So lots of big data is coming out at the end of this month here, really giving us a better picture of where some of these altcoins and Bitcoin is headed. So if you guys are enjoying the show and you guys are enjoying the technical analysis, you want to have access to these breakdowns every single day, whether it's for a day trade setup or for just as simple as a long-term hold. If you want to start learning how to trade, you start participating in my trading course, you can join the Crypto Citadel. The link is in the profile, link is in the description of the video, depending where you're watching. And do you trade SHX? No, I mainly trade Bitcoin. I do post analysis on any altcoin that you guys want in the Crypto Citadel. So if we jump on over to the Crypto Citadel, we took a long this morning. We hit TP1. We entered on 91.2 and we hit TP1 on 91.7. Now, that's for signals, for trades, right? Now, for the long term, more macro analysis, we post macro analysis on any altcoin you guys are looking for critical areas, support, resistance, targets to be looking for, right? So you guys have a better idea on how to potentially manage your own portfolio, what to be looking for, so you can have a potential idea of better allocation of dollar cost averaging, right? Instead of buying every single dip, you're actually being strategic on what are some critical levels to be looking for to the downside, to be looking to dollar cost average instead of just buying every single dip. Now, the Crypto Citadel is $5 a day. If you want to be in there, you get access to the trading course. You get access to the live trading sessions that we do every morning, Monday through Thursday for 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You get access to the trade signals, to the swing trades, and you get access to my private indicators that I am developing. I have developed my own private indicators here that I use for my own trading strategy, and everybody in the Crypto Citadel gets access to them as they are learning my trading strategy along. These indicators will help you automate your trades a lot faster and look for these critical levels a lot faster without having to chart it out yourself. Let's go take a look at Dash and Chainlink. Let's go take a look at Dash first. Dash. Where are you? Here we go. So Dash overall, right, has been in a very tight range. Wasn't a lot going on here until we had this big breakout with Zcash, and then Dash followed right behind it. Came up, hit the grand majority of our targets that we were discussing in the Crypto Citadel for Dash, right? We came up as high as 149. The gold pocket extension was up at 153 to 158. Started to get rejected, started to fall below the 0.50 fib of 138, and slowly started making lower highs and dropping down lower. So now where is Dash at? Let's get the new monthly range here for November. November 30th. Boom. We are currently below this range right now, but that doesn't mean that we can't get back in and have some targets to the upside. So first big target here that I'm seeing for Dash is this monthly MPOC for November up at $82. We're currently sitting at $48, right? If we can get back above the value area low of the November range at $54, our big target to the upside is $82. Now, if we get a local gold pocket here from this high in November all the way down to its current lows, gold pocket retracement, if we would have a 65% retracement back to the upside, would be $112 for Dash. Now, let's go take a look at some other targets here, some averages. Let's get some monthly averages here. Yeah, monthly average lines up with the 382 fib, which is right at $84. So, main thing here for Dash is we need to stay above, we need to get back above, right? We need to get back above $54, and then we have a chance to run between 82 to 85 with a strong breakout. If you have a 65% push to the upside, or retracement, I should say, is $112 for Dash. If not, if Dash continues to live under its previous monthly range, we could be dropping down lower towards the 33, maybe even down to 22 if altcoins continue to get, smashed here overall. So that's something to be aware of for Dash holders. If you guys were buying up over here, sorry to tell you, but you guys were making a huge, huge mistake. You do not buy altcoins after such strong, massive price action like this. Like look at Dash for multiple years. Dash has been below $54, just ranging ever since 2022, right, all the way through 2024. We quickly broke out above 50, and then came right down below 48, and spent the entire time down here. Then we had a major breakout again in the month of November, and if you guys were FOMO buying Dash at 116, 130, you guys made a huge mistake, and this is why it's important for you guys to be reading charts, not to be going off FOMO and off hype, because everyone that was following the hype for Dash got wrecked. And a lot of people have gotten wrecked on Zcash too. So we're going to cover that one, and then we're going to jump over to Chainlink as well. For people asking where to sign up for the Crypto Citadel, guys, the link is down below. If you're watching on TikTok, it's in the channel profile. Go to my link tree. You'll have access to it there. If you're watching on YouTube or anywhere else, it's probably in the description of the video down below. So let's go take a look at Chainlink, and then we'll look at Zcash. Well, actually, let's just do Zcash already. Zcash was pretty simple here. Zcash was another one where most people were FOMOing in at the top, right? Coming in at 745. People were super excited. We were hitting this 0.5 fib of resistance at 745. We fell back down, and guess what? I told you guys that we were going to have a revisit of this 296. 296 was a strong monthly untapped average. We were showing weakness. We were most likely going to pull back, and guess what? We did exactly that. On December 3rd, which was just a few days ago, 5 days ago, we came down to as low as 304, literally front running this 296 by just less than $10. We came all the way down here, and now we're having a bounce. This is the area to be getting interested in for Zcash, right? Coming down towards this monthly average below 300. That was the moment to be looking for, not at $700 or $600. Oh, this is going to be the next Bitcoin. Oh, this is going to take over. The privacy sector is going to go over to $1,000. Can it go to $1,000? Maybe, right? But realistically, Are you going to be buying in at 670, at 745, or going long with leverage at those levels? No, because this is how you get liquidated. This is how you get wrecked. And that's exactly what's happening here, and what did happen here. So 306, 296, that was the area to be looking for longs. That was the area to be looking for a potential buy-in for a nice run back up. And now it's currently sitting at 421. Let's move on over to Chainlink. Oops. Link-a-link. Let's see here. Where is... This is not my Chainlink chart. Okay. Appreciate everybody smashing those likes. All right, so Chainlink here overall has come down and hit some critical targets. We've lost the uptrend, right? We lost the uptrend here that we had in Q3. Lost that, got rejected at 23 bucks, came down to this critical support that we've been holding for quite some time. For the grand majority of 2024, 2025, we've been holding above $11 to $13. We came down again to about $11.89 at the end of November, beginning of December, and now we're sitting at $13.78. So big thing for Chainlink here is to get above this quarterly and yearly VWAP within this month. Now, this will reset at the end of the month, so we don't have to worry about it if we don't get above it by the end of the year. But if we want to see a move to the upside, we have targets between $19 to $23, right? Those targets are only going to be seen if we can start getting above the quarterly VWAP, which is around $16.35, and the yearly VWAP, which is around $18. So if we get a quick monthly range here for... this is October. Let's get October and November. Boom. We are within the bi-monthly range. NPLC here to the upside, which is the big target, will be 1741, which would put us above the quarterly VWAP, but just below the yearly VWAP of 1842. That is the next big target for Chainlink if we can continue to hold this area of support between $13 to about $11. Our next big target is about 1735. Can you go over Terra Luna Classic? We definitely can. I don't know if people still trading that thing. Don't know why they'd be trading this, but okay. Everybody wants the pumponomics. So obviously this chart is just nothing but down, 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 down with some random quick spikes to the upside, and everybody wants to catch a spike to the upside is what I'm assuming here. So once again, massive downtrend here for this previous quarter and previous 2 months. We just had a massive spike to the upside, got rejected off the yearly VWAP here. So the yearly VWAP is around 61.23 with about 4 or 5 zeros in front of it. Can't see that too well. So I do expect, meanwhile, we hold above this quarterly VWAP of 49.98. We might have another retest of this yearly VWAP, but meanwhile we're below the yearly VWAP. It is bearish. You've pretty much missed the spike. Gotta wait for it to come cool off again before potentially trying to catch another big spike move to the upside. Bitcoin still chopping it up here below the weekly open and back inside the previous day range. Still waiting for these targets of 89.4 to 89.3 to hit. Might not happen today, but definitely I do believe it's going to happen later today. I mean, later this week at some point. Very, very bearish 4-hour candle here for Bitcoin. Massively bearish engulfing candle for Bitcoin. So I do expect this targeted hit of 89.4 to 89.3. Let's continue here. Thoughts on Aptos. Let's go take a look at Aptos. Okay. Let's get some data here. What is this? This is through the end of September. Nice downtrend. Let's get October, November. Boom. We are well below the bi-monthly range here. We are currently below $2.24. We're at $1.78. Aptos here is like just melting into oblivion. Does Coinbase even have any targets below this? It seems not to have any data. Yeah, so it's at some massive lows for Aptos right now. Not very good at all. Let's get some extended fibs here to the downside. See what some other potential targets to the downside could be. Drop. Boom. All right. So next big target here for Aptos to the downside, if we continue dropping, was going to be this extended gold pocket to the downside around the 138 to 128. Now, if Aptos can get back above its bi-monthly range, its value area low of $2.30, we do have an NPOC here up at $3.29. We do have the quarterly VWAP and yearly VWAP in a very strong decline as well. So very aggressive decline here over the last 60 days, which is going to be tough to fight here for Aptos. As you guys can see, this regression trend, this downtrend here in the last 2 months has been very aggressive. Getting above 231 will potentially be breaking this downtrend, but this quarterly VWAP is sitting down at 298, which is going to be a bit of a fight to get to this quarterly to this monthly MPOC of 330. But if we can get there, we might have a chance of running for the yearly VWAP of 458, which would be the next big test for Aptos if we're going to have a big rally here towards the end of the year and potentially start running for some bigger targets between 684 to about 846 for Aptos. Can we look at SUI? Absolutely, we can look at SUI. SUI is definitely one that we've been covering in the Crypto Citadel as well. We're covering a lot of different altcoins here. Just posted a macro update on SUI just yesterday, but let's go take a look at the SUI chart. So SUI here overall, right? If we continue to the downside, right, we always have to assume that the worst is happening. If we're going to continue to the downside, targets to the downside are $1.07 to 48 cents would be the macro gold pocket, extended gold pocket to the downside. Sorry. If we can hold here, hold above this 144 and start breaking out of the previous month range and start getting back into the developing yearly range, we have targets between 250 to 318 for SUI, right? That is where the yearly VWAP starts coming in, and the developing yearly NPOC is also up at 347. But we have our quarterly VWAPs currently sitting at 217, which will be resistance as it starts to line up with the previous month value area high of $2.08. So $2.08 to about 220 is going to be some strong resistance here for SUI. Hopefully we can close out the year in a better state, get back into the current year developing range. Once we start doing that and we start getting above 240, we have potential of running it up to about 345 for SUI. How do we get into your group? If you want to get into the Crypto Citadel, the link is in the profile. If you can't find the link in the profile, just send me a DM and I'll DM you the link directly. So if you have any questions or you have any trouble signing up for the Crypto Citadel, make sure that you guys just send me a DM on TikTok and I will reply to you. I will never DM you first, but if you DM me, I will reply to your DMs. So make sure that you are joining the Crypto Citadel with the link in the profile or the link in the description of the video if you're watching anywhere like on X, YouTube, or anywhere else. So Instagram is also on the profile link. H-bar, what do you think about H-bar? I'll tell you right now what I think about H-bar. Let's go take a look at H-bar here. H-bar, where's my H-bar chart? All right, let me update this chart real quick. H-bar is currently sitting around 13.5 cents. Has not been having a great time, let me tell you. Let's get the last 2 months, the last 60-day range. We are below the previous 60-day range as well. We're currently sitting at 13.5 cents. We need to start getting above 14 cents. We do have the anchored VWAP and quarterly VWAP as well between 16 to 18 cents. So definitely expect that to be some strong resistance here. Overall, H bar has just been, all of 2025 has just been ranging here pretty much sideways. So let's get the developing yearly range here. The developing yearly range from January 1st to where we're currently at of November 30th. Yeah, we need to get back above the 14.5 cent area to get into the developing yearly range. Doing that, we do have a yearly NPLC developing over at 19 cents. And then above 19 cents, our next big target to the upside would be a quarterly NPLC that still remains untapped up at 24 cents. But if we continue dropping lower here, we get an extended gold pocket to the downside, right? Boom. Boom. Even though this major liquidation on October did hit some big targets to the downside, we still have the 0.5 fib. We're currently sitting on the 382 fib for H bar at 13 cents. But if we lose that support, next big support is going to be around 10 cents. And then below 10 cents, we have 7 to 6.5 cents for H bar, right? That's only if we start losing 13 cents. So 13 cent support, which is the 382 fib that we're currently sitting on right now. Let me get back into the chat here. How low do you see H bar going down to? I just answered that question. So worst case scenario for H bar would be around 0.068 to about 7.5 cents. Worst case scenario for H bar to the downside if we lose 13 cents. Bitcoin here trying to make a push up again, just still chopping it up sideways here. Chainlink will blow up after the partnership with Swift. I mean, Chainlink is positioned in a very strong fundamental place, right? Where it is literally connected to every single blockchain. Anything that has to do with traditional finance is using Chainlink to bridge onto the blockchain. They are obviously their founder, their developers, whatever it is, Sergey, whatever it is. He is definitely working with the administration to get, favorable regulation and make more partnerships and things happen for Chainlink. So Chainlink overall is decently well positioned for a decent move. Now, is Chainlink going to go to like $1,000? People are like $100+ I don't think so, right? Chainlink topped out around $33 this bull run, this last 2 years, right? In 2024 or 2025, we topped out around that time frame, around that price point of $33. Didn't even hit previous all-time highs around $55. So yes, I do believe at some point, maybe way later into 2026, 2027, the next major rally where Bitcoin is making some crazy new all-time highs towards that $200,000 price point, can Chainlink get towards that 50 to 80 price point? Maybe. But so far, not anytime soon. So big targets that I'm looking for Chainlink are just going to be, this is not even Chainlink's profile. Chainlink would be around 25 to $40 in the midterm, not even short term, in the midterm. H bar still a good buy long term, guys. I'm not a long term holder of H bar. I'm not a big long-term holder of any of the ISO 200 coins. They had a lot of hype back in 2021. They did some of them did very well in the 2024 November rally that we had. But outside of that, they haven't done jack squat ding dongs again, right? And it's because they're legacy coins until they start getting put into ETFs, which I know H bar is in the process of being put into an ETF, or already has been put into an ETF. Definitely has some potential. The only altcoins that are worth holding in the long term will be altcoins that are in the ETFs of some kind, because most people are not paying attention to this anymore, but they should be, which is altcoins did not behave anywhere near the amount of rally and euphoria that they had in 2021. Why is that? Well, one, it's the saturation of altcoins in general. Just the technology to create altcoins have become a lot easier, and the market gets oversaturated. People don't know. People, the money gets retail gets diversed, right? Because retail was running altcoins, but guess what? Retail moved over to meme coins in 2024, 2025, and they forgot about the legacy altcoins. They're just in the meme coins in the trenches, getting poorer and poorer every day, gambling their money away. Now we have predictive markets coming out like Polymarket and Kashi, right? Where people are going on over there to bet money to make money. Once again, putting another barrier of entry for people to like, well, why am I going to go into these altcoins? I'm just going to go do what the cool thing is now, which is being on predictive markets, right? And that is another step beyond the meme coins and a step beyond altcoins, which really keeps retail away from altcoins being what they were in 2021, which we circle back now to the altcoins that are going to last are going to be the altcoins that the institutions are picking up in their ETFs. There will be a dot-com bubble era where the majority of altcoins either go to zero or get very close to going to zero and will never make all-time highs again. And there will be just, dead coins overall. So the only coins that can survive that dot-com era in the long term will be the ones that the institutions pick up in their ETFs. And if your altcoin is not in an ETF in the next year or so, you're putting a lot of risk on holding that long term. Is it time to sell or hold? Well, that really depends on your entry, right? I'm holding. Why? Because my entries were way lower than the grand majority of you guys. I got into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of these other altcoins at way lower price points that I'm not really concerned about if, Ethereum or Bitcoin pull back and the altcoin markets crash. Altcoins overall are a very, very small percentage of my portfolio. The grand majority of my portfolio is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few top 10 coins. Everything else is like 1 to 2%, very minor amount in my portfolio. So it doesn't make it or break it for me if they go to zero. Now, this is why I always tell everybody to have a long-term portfolio and a trading portfolio. Why? Because everybody that gets into investing, right, the biggest thing is, yes, long-term investments work like Bitcoin, Ethereum, things that are going to be here for the next 5 to 10 years. But even then, if you're not trading, if you're not analyzing charts, you're not going to be dollar cost averaging at the appropriate times. You're going to be buying the dips forever and eventually getting wrecked. Now, with proper TA, proper analysis of charts, it can help you dollar cost average. At the same time, meanwhile, the market is going sideways, altcoins are dropping, there's not a lot of excitement in your long-term portfolio, you can still be extracting capital with your trading portfolio, and that is your cash flow model. Your trading portfolio makes you profits that you then use to cash flow into your long-term portfolio to dollar cost average at critical levels, right? And build up that long-term portfolio, maybe get to 1 Bitcoin, maybe get to like 4 to 5 Ethereums, right? Whatever your goals are for your long-term portfolio, you can do that with your trading portfolio. Instead of constantly pulling money out from your 9 to 5 job and using that to, grow your long-term portfolio, you can do that with your cash flow trading portfolio, which is the best strategy you can possibly use. Because even though when things get extremely boring and the viewership is down and nobody wants to pay attention to altcoins, nobody wants to pay attention to crypto overall, there every single day presents an opportunity for a good trade to be taken, to be able to extract capital out of this market. Every day you can be taking a trade that makes you $100, $200. Not saying that you have to trade every single day, but I'm just saying the opportunities are there. Even though the long-term stuff is not exciting, the short-term is very exciting. Is 89,100 long entry saved or not? An $89,000 price point for Bitcoin here. Let's go take a look at the Bitcoin chart. So you entered along at 89,100. Realistically, you're probably not in the safest of positions, and here's why. We fell back into the previous day range. We're currently below the weekly open, right? Where the weekly open is at 90,300 for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin cannot reclaim this weekly open this week and we continue heading lower, our targets to the downside are between 89,300 to 89,100, which is the gold pocket from the previous day range. So that would be right there coming to your pretty much your entry point. And then if we start dropping below that, right, we rotate this previous week range, previous day range completely, and the previous week range, which we're currently in right now, right? The targets to that, to the downside, are between 88.2 to 88,000. Once again, we can sweep the previous day low here around 87, and maybe we'll have, a push to the upside. But we do have targets between 86 to 85. And if we continue heading lower below the previous week EQ, things become very bearish in the short term for this week, and targets of 83,700 start to become a bigger likelihood. Not a guarantee, not 100% chance that we're going down there, but I'm just saying we start dropping below 88.9 and start closing dailies below there, the chances that we drop down to 83 begin to increase, right? The thing about trading, a lot of people watch my videos, right? They watch my short form content. You're like, well, Crusader, you're saying that it could go up or it could go down. Yeah, that's how technical analysis works. There's no 100% guarantee that we are going down or that we are going up. It's all about probabilities. It's just like the prediction markets, right? One scenario has a bigger likelihood than another scenario, but the second scenario is not a 0% chance, meaning that as more data comes into the chart and different price action plays out, one scenario that could be very likely could start to diminish in likelihood, and the second scenario becomes more likely and could be the outcome that we eventually get. And that is how a technical analyst can change up their position. It's like, Crusader, every video you make, you're changing up your position. You're saying it's going up now you're saying it's going down. Yeah, because if you're day trading, that data changes constantly, and those scenarios are constantly changing every hour, every 30 minutes, every 4 hours, and it's new data that is telling you what the likelihood of a new outcome is, and you need to be able to pivot and change directions on your trades. That is how you can survive as a trader. If you're just stuck in your mindset of, oh, I think it's going to go up because that's your bias, and you don't want to look at data, you're going to get wrecked, man. You're going to get wrecked. Eddie Parker in the house, Crypto Citadel member. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Appreciate everybody in here smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. What do you think of ADA on the monthly? I'm assuming that's what you're asking. Let's go take a look at ADA. I just made a macro long-term analysis on ADA in the Crypto Citadel, but overall, here's the quick gist, right? The quick gist is that we are still within the November range, which is good. Targets to the downside are between 36 to 25 cents if we continue heading lower, but meanwhile, we stay within the November range of 38 cents. Targets to the upside are getting above this quarterly VWAP of 58 cents. We do have a multi-month NPLC up at 64 cents, so that's going to be a nice little target to the upside from where we are right now. Not saying that's going to happen this month, especially I would probably want to wait for after December for the yearly and quarterly to reset so we can have less resistance on the way up towards that 64-cent target. Now, overall, we need to get above 81 to have any chance of making any big pushes above $1. But those are the critical targets here in the very short term for ADA. Bitcoin pulling back here once again, still chopping it up, sitting at 89,800, coming towards these targets. I'm pretty sure we're going to be filling these targets here later today at some point, guys. This is a massively bearish engulfing candle on the 4-hour, 2-hour, just overall very nasty price action to the downside. Are you saying we need to learn to trade with leverage? You don't need to learn. You don't need to trade with leverage. You can trade in spot, right? Leverage is up to you, right? It really depends on your trading style. If you're doing spot trading, you obviously have to go more into swing trades, which are longer term trades that play out over a couple of weeks, a couple of months, right? If you're doing day trading, getting in, getting out, you can still do it on spot, especially with some altcoins, but just know that the level of the amount of money that you're going to make in a day trade without leverage will be very low unless you're trading with very large amounts of capital on your own. But if you're trading with $1,000 or less, you're going to need to use leverage if you want to day trade. Now, if you're not into day trading and you're into swing trading, you don't need leverage. Spot is perfectly fine. Bitcoin starting to break down again here at 89,600. How long do bear markets usually last? Bear market lasts about 12 months. 12 months is usually the length of the bear market. The 4-year cycles are usually, three years of pretty much, or a year and a half to year and a half or so of to 2 years of just straight up price action to the upside. 1 year of the transition of stagnation, and then you have the 1 year downtrend, the 1 year bear market. That's pretty much how it plays out. Other influencers say 2026 is very bullish year. What do you think about that? There's a possibility for bullishness in 2026, but anyone that's telling you, that's giving you any type of guarantee that 2026 will be bullish is lying to you, right? They're just telling you what you want to hear. Everybody wants to hear that it's gonna get very bullish next year, guys. Next year is the moment. Buy the dip now. But unless they have some amazing technical analysis that I have not seen, I don't see anything on the chart that gives ultimate bullishness, right? The things that we need to be looking out for the longer term here for Bitcoin. So let me zoom out here on my Bitcoin chart and discuss this idea of potential bullishness in 2026. Right now, Bitcoin is below its developing yearly range. Its developing yearly range value area low is around 96,000. So first step, we need to get above 96,000 to start showing any level of strength for Bitcoin. Meanwhile, we live below it. It's looking very bad. Another quick thing here. Let me actually clean up this chart a little bit so you guys can see what I'm talking about a lot more clearly. The yearly open for 2025 is 93,300. We came up to it multiple times here in the last couple of weeks, last couple of days, and have been rejected off of it multiple times. So unless we can start getting above 93.3, 2025 is going to close out in the negative. And look what 2025 look what the yearly candle looks like. Does that look like a bullish yearly candle? Right? We have a massive green candle here in 2024, and then we're getting a majorly red candle. Right? I wish I could clean this up for you guys a little bit better, but overall, majorly red. Actually, let me just go to a different chart. Let me go right here. Nope, not that one. Let me go right here. Cool. Look at this red candle on the yearly with a major wick to the upside, right? Does that look bullish to you for 2026? For the next, what do you see this? This is called a spinning top, right? With a massive wick to the upside. Most likely closing out in the negative here. We will probably have more downside price action to the for Bitcoin. Now, can we have a push to 100K first? Absolutely. And there's where the bullishness can come in, right? But it's going to potentially be a bull trap if it doesn't play out and we don't reclaim certain areas. So overall for Bitcoin needs to make a push for this $98,000 to $104,000 price point for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin cannot get above 98 to 104 and start closing weeklies to monthlies above that area, will most likely be setting up a bull trap here if we rally. Okay. Is she okay? So between 98 to 104 is critical to start closing weeklies and monthlies above to start showing strength for Bitcoin in 2026. If we push up to this area and start getting rejected and continue to close weeklies and monthlies below it, we will continue heading lower, and that will be a bull trap for a lot of people in 2026. So, hold on. My camera just froze here for a quick second. Let me actually fix this. So, once again, over here, if we start heading lower for Bitcoin, right, we have some big targets. Jeez, why is my camera freezing? we have some big targets for Bitcoin. I don't know why I keep saying Ethereum. For Bitcoin to the downside between 74,000 to 57,000. So if 2026 is a bear trap, right, is a bull trap, we get a lot of people get overly bullish at $100,000 price point, and we get rejected and start falling back down. Targets that I'm going to be looking for are between 74 to 57,000 for Bitcoin in 2026. But first, we have to see if we get that push towards 90,000, 99 to 100,000. That is going to be where I'm going to be looking for the next potential big short in Bitcoin. And that is what the Crypto Citadel is preparing for in the long term here, is a push towards that 100K area. Yes, Princessa. And then a potential rejection there. If that rejection does occur, we are looking for a push down to 74, maybe even as low as 57 in 2026. So those are the things that we're looking for in the Crypto Citadel, guys. If you haven't joined already, the Crypto Citadel is my private trading community. If you're not a trader, you're more than welcome to be there. We're also posting macro updates in the long term, game planning for potential critical zones to be dollar cost averaging and to be actually looking for reversals to the upside and to the downside. Because if you know where Bitcoin is going, you know where the altcoins are going to go. The altcoins will follow Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin has a chance of falling down to 57, it is obviously not a good idea at all to be buying any altcoins right now. If you're buying altcoins right now and you are not ready for Bitcoin to have a rejection at 100K and pull back to 57, 59, you are going to get wrecked, my friends. You are going to get wrecked. And the only way you know if this is going to happen or not is if you're following the charts, right? Once we start approaching those areas, you need to be very, very well prepared for scenarios not to play in your favor. So that is something that we're doing in the Crypto Citadel. Now, obviously, if you want to start trading, right, you want to start swing trading or day trading, I have a trading course that you can follow along. You can learn. You can join my daily live streams, my daily trading sessions from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. with me Monday through Thursday in the Crypto Citadel. And all of that is $5 a day, guys. $5 a day to be in there for that. So I appreciate every single one of you guys in here, smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. My camera just gave up for some reason. So with that note, I'm gonna be closing out here, guys. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'll see all of you guys in the Crypto Citadel. Until next time, see ya.